There is a whole lot of armor in Elden Ring, and while a lot of it's awesome, a lot can also be really hard to get. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 armor sets you can't afford to miss. Just for a little context, what we're going to do here is focus on armor that is easy to pass right by. Not necessarily sets that look the coolest out of all the armor, or even some of the best sets in the game that you get from like beating bosses, because you don't really have to do anything special to get those. You just buy them from the finger reader at the round table hold after killing a boss, so there's not a lot to talk about there. That being said, this is stuff that you can miss, that's not particularly difficult to miss, may even be kind of difficult to get, and on top of that, all this armor is stuff that is actually really good to have. At number 10, Blade Set. One of the coolest armor sets in the game, also happens to be one of the hardest to get. If you want to look just like the Half-Wolf Warrior, then you're going to have to work for it. The only way to get this armor is to complete Ranni's entire quest line, which is one of the longest and most involved quests in the entire game. We don't have nearly enough time to explain all the steps you're supposed to do to finish this whole thing, but if you really want this armor and don't know what to do, you're going to need to look up a guide.
Leave this place to me. You just do what you feel is right.
After you complete the entire quest and get the Dark Moon Greatsword and everything, then you go back to Ranni's Rise, which at this point you really have no reason not to do, and there you find Blade one last time. He's gone mad after losing his master, and the only way to calm him down is, unfortunately, to kill him. If you do manage to defeat him, you get his entire armor set minus one piece, which is the head. That is actually found elsewhere on a random body on top of some ruins near Sylvaas's Rise. And with that, you've got a complete Blade costume. Even though his story ended kind of tragically, the actual set is really cool and really easy to miss. At number 9 is Lionel Set. For the most part, the armor you wear doesn't matter all that much in this game. In general, if an armor's heavier, then it offers more protection, and that's about it. So the only thing you really have to worry about with armor is if you got a high enough equip load to wear it. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter what you want to wear, especially in the long run. But sometimes, certain armor sets can provide additional bonuses that can be very helpful depending on how you've built your character, and this set, especially combined with Luset's staff, can be incredibly powerful if you're playing as a magic user. Now, to get this wild-looking armor, you need to complete Selen's quest line, which is thankfully shorter than Ranni's, but it has just about the same amount of cryptic BS to it. At a certain point, she wants you to find a new body for her, and you have to find an illusionary floor to get it. Just look up a guide. There's no reason not to. After you've done everything and either helped her or defeated her, it doesn't really matter which, return to the spot where you found Luset in the Celia Highway, and the body will have disappeared, but in its place you'll find a pickup containing an entire armor set. With it equipped, you will look like a truly insane archmage. You get a huge boost to Luset's sorceries at the cost of additional FP consumption, which, when combined with Luset's staff, which also gives you a boost in magic, can really make you a force to be reckoned with. And number 8 is Lionel Set. For people who really like heavy armor, like really heavy armor, or just miss the Onion Knight from Dark Souls, this armor set is really worth hunting down. It's found in a random bed near the Lower Capital Church site in Lendell, the royal capital. And this armor set's thankfully pretty easy to find if you know where to look. It's one of the heaviest sets of armor in the entire game, weighing a whopping 51.5 in equipment load once you have everything equipped. So this thing isn't something you're going to be able to equip and like move around with a lot of dexterity, so to speak, unless you really got a ton of points invested in endurance, and even then that might not be enough. But if you're serious about heavy armor, there's few sets that offer as much overall protection as this one. It looks goofy as hell, but that's also kind of part of the charm. And number 7 is the White Reed Set. Now, we've mentioned some heavy armor, some magic armor, but one thing that hasn't come up is armor that's good for dexterity characters. One of the all-time greats is found near the end of the game on the mountaintop of the Giants, and while it takes going to 2 completely different locations to complete the set, it's very worth it in the end. To get the first part of the White Reed Set, you need to go to the Spirit Caller's Cave beside the big frozen lake area. It's the place that requires 2 stone sword keys to get into. Inside it, you fight this guy called Inaba, who drops the body, legs, and arm pieces of the armor. To get the head piece, you'll have to go all the way up the mountain just before the boss arena to the Church of Repose, where you'll get invaded by Bloody Finger Okina. If you manage to kill him, that'll get you the mask along with an incredibly good katana called the Rivers of Blood. The mask itself is really useful because it boosts the dexterity by 3 while lowering focus a little, but all the focus effects is resistance to sleep and madness. And these are probably the 2 rarest status effects in the game, so not really a big negative. It's just all around a good set of armor for anyone who wants to insert a little Sekiro into their game. I kind of really enjoy how they've managed to incorporate little pieces of different parts of all of their games into this series in ways like this. And number 6 is the Mushroom Set. Another bizarre one, but this time it actually serves a useful function. To get it, you need to explore this miserable dungeon called the Seethwater Cave, which is a place filled with annoying mushroom men and poisoned floors, but if you're thorough enough, you'll be able to collect this set, which is, pretty disgusting looking to wear, but it offers some pretty high resistance bonuses. Now, the immunity is especially high, and that's what protects you from stuff like poison and scarlet rot. Having this armor equipped for areas like the Lake of Rot can make getting around significantly easier. There's a lot of poison swamps in this game, so having some kind of protection from them is really handy. It doesn't offer a lot of physical protection, but if all you're doing is trying to get through a really annoying swamp area, this armor set can be an absolute godsend. And number 5 is the Twinned Set. One of the coolest armor sets we've ever seen from Software is this one. The Twinned Set, which literally looks like it's got 2 people merged together into one set of armor. It's just so unique. The first time we saw it, we really had to know how to get it. Once again, it's not uniquely good armor. You can get the kinds of effects that it has elsewhere, but it's also strange and cool looking, and we kind of just wanted to have it. Normally it's worn by D, this weird dude that just hangs out in the round table hold, but if you manage to start up Fia's questline, she'll give you a dagger that she says needs to be returned to its owner. If you ask around, you'll find that the weapon actually belongs to D and you can give it to him. After you do, return to the hold later and look at the back room to find D dead and Fia standing over him. That's when you can loot this armor for yourself. Later on, you can find his twin brother and give the set over to him, which, don't worry, is temporary, and that'll continue his quest, but if you don't want to do that, you can always just keep the set for yourself. For some people, this armor is maybe a little too out there to wear, but we just love how weird it is. And number 4 is the Bull Goat Set. This armor set is one of the absolute best in class if you want some heavy armor that has some very high poise. If you don't know, poise is a stat that affects how and when you get staggered from attacks, and with high poise, you're less likely to get interrupted by enemy attacks, and that can be extremely useful for characters, especially who focus on strength and use slow to swing but high damage weapons. Now, this is incredibly heavy to wear. It's one of the few armor sets that's even heavier than Lionel Set, but if you want to literally 100 poise, this is a great piece of armor to wear. To get it, there are 2 things you need to do. First, get to the Volcano Manor and start the quest there, and crucially, do not kill Patches. If you didn't kill him at the beginning of the game, he'll appear in the manor and give you a job to kill somebody. The dude he wants you to fight is the Great Horned Tragoth, who isn't easy to take down, but if you do it, your reward is his armor set. It kind of feels bad to hunt down and kill one of the few guys who actually helps you out in this game. You can summon Tragoth to help you during the Radon fight, but his armor it's really worth it, so yeah. And number 3 is the Black Knife Set. If you really want to go all stealth assassin on your enemies, this is great armor, and it's worth hunting down. Found in Ordina, liturgical town, on a random corpse, this armor has a unique bonus of muffling your steps, making it much harder for enemies to notice you when they're not looking directly at you. Sneaking in Elden Ring isn't particularly hard as it is, but being able to run around and backstab enemies this quickly is just a ton of fun to do. The armor itself is pretty hardcore looking too. If you ever wanted to be a ring wraith, this is the armor you want. Getting to Ordina isn't exactly easy, as it can only be reached if you collect 2 pieces of the Halagtree Secret Medallion, which you can get from exploring Castle Sol in the mountaintop of the Giants, and you off a dude hidden as a big pot in a jar in a village of the Abanorix in Liurnia. Once you actually get to the village, it's pretty easy to find, so get it, put it on, and become the backstabbing king. And number 2 is the Godskin Apostle Set. If you ever wanted to give the old Leatherface look a go, this set is definitely what you want to look out for. It's got a hood that's made from a face, which is grotesque as hell, but also pretty badass. Getting it is, it's an ordeal. The only way you'll be able to get this special armor set is you climb up the outside of the Divine Tower in Caelid, then somehow manage to make it all the way down to the basement of this place. It's a hellish platforming challenge that forces you to make some very unsafe jumps along with multiple falls that would kill you instantly in any place other than this divine tower. If you actually make it to the bottom, they thankfully give you a sight of grace, but also force you into a fight with a very beefed up version of the Godskin Apostle boss. If you manage to beat him, you'll find his armor as your reward. Now, there's nothing particularly great about it. It doesn't provide any unique protection or bonuses, but it's so gnarly and hard to get that we felt it deserved a special mention here. And finally, at number 1 is the Jar Helmet. Yes, you too can be a Jar Warrior. Well, at least you can pretend to be one with this goofy but awesome little secret helmet. To get it, all you have to do is progress Alexander the Jar Warrior's quest. You first find him outside Stormvale Castle stuck in the ground, and he'll help you defeat Radon, and then again can be found outside the Divine Tower in Liurna, once again stuck in a hole. This time you'll need to grease him up with some oil to get him out, and that's when he decides to head to the volcano peaks of Mount Gelmir. If you go to the lava field south from Fort Laed and deal with the dragon here, you can once again find Alexander, this time hanging out in the middle of some liquid hot magma. That's where he'll give you this ridiculous piece of equipment, the Jar Helmet. It doesn't just look good either, it actually boosts the damage of any throwing pot weapons you use. It's hardly the best bonus a piece of armor gives you, but it doesn't matter, it is a Jar Helmet. You can finally go live among the jars of Jarbug now. Who wants to be an Elden Lord when you can be a literal jar instead? A quick bonus here, we have to mention that pretty much all of the boss armors are actually cool as hell, but probably our favorite is Radon's set, the appropriately huge. Then Melania's is iconic, and Malekith's black armor is just straight badass. Those are our personal favorites, but which ones are yours? Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is of course a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at FalconHero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.